Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you are doing well. Thank you for watching. We are going to talk about some recent goings on with the biggest album of the week, one of the biggest albums of the year, no doubt. That is Beyoncé's latest record, Renaissance. There have been some recent and interesting changes to the record as of late. I know there may be some people reacting to these recent removals and changes, probably thinking something along the lines of, what's the big deal? What's the point here? Why are they doing this? Why are people so offended? Some may not be happy to see headlines like this every once in a while and may fear things like artist creativity being restricted. If you are really truly concerned about things like restricting artists' creativity and rights and so on and so forth, there are so many predatory business and social practices within the music industry at large that are far greater threats to that than audiences being sensitive over offensive words. But I also wanted to discuss the removal of a sample or interpolation of the song Milkshake, the very viral and legendary Kelis single, which originally had placement in the song Energy on this new Renaissance record, which is actually one of my favorite tracks from the record. Very groovy, very hard-hitting, fantastic feature from Beam, and a great beat switch on the back end. I'm very excited to talk about this album, if you haven't already been able to tell. But yes, Beyoncé incorporated that Kelis song into this track, and I guess with that came a credit to Pharrell, Neptunes, because that's who I guess has production and writing credits on the song, mind you. Not Kelis, though. Kelis does not have credits on her own damn track, which, I mean, there has been a lot of talk of, not just recently, but it's been a point of discussion at multiple points that, she's essentially been robbed, which is kind of undeniable and most certainly the case. So yes, as I said, Pharrell, Neptunes had a credit on this song on the Beyoncé track, but there was a Kelis credit on the track as well, to Beyoncé's credit, which, given the ugly technicals of that song, did not necessarily need to happen. And it seems like business-wise, Beyoncé and her team did everything they were supposed to in order to get approval and clearance on the song. But Kelis still ended up taking to social media to, complain, call out, take issue.
Just common decency. Like I said, it's happened before where people at least had the wherewithal to be like, yo, using your record, we understand that Pharrell totally swindled you out of your stuff. Just want to give the respect because that's what you do.
This made quite a stir across the internet, and understandably so, as this is the biggest record of the week, and Beyoncé fans are quite defensive of their queen bee. They're not going to let anyone like Kelis or really anybody, period, come in and step on her shine. So unfortunately, I think a lot of what Kelis was saying kind of fell on deaf ears. It does partially, I think, have to do with her attitude and her approach to the whole situation. Ultimately, it's not on Beyoncé to sort of right these wrongs or fix these problems. Yes, I agree, and many of us agree, you got robbed of your freaking song. Technically, Pharrell, Neptunes, totally took advantage of the situation. But I think to approach her in this way over this track that, again, unfortunately you don't have rights over, does come off a bit entitled. Listen, even though that may be the case, and it's that approach that I think a lot of fans latched onto and sort of lashed out at Kelis for, she was making some really great and really fair points about artist deals, about the hypocrisy of Pharrell Williams, about how ridiculous the situation is with her credits on her biggest hits. Just more of that attitude and more of that anger could have been more generally directed at Pharrell and the industry at large. Now, here's the next chapter of this situation where I do kind of switch sides, because Beyoncé has now removed any trace of Milkshake from that Energy track. One positive thing I'll say is that it doesn't necessarily ruin the appeal of the track or anything like that with it being changed. That for sure is good, but I think it wasn't really the best move on Beyoncé's part to observe this situation, which she most definitely did. You cannot tell me, you cannot bullshit me into believing that Beyoncé wasn't aware of the credit situation with Kelis, Neptunes, Pharrell, that she wasn't aware of what was being said about the inclusion of the track by Kelis. You can't tell me that she didn't see that and that she wasn't aware of that and decided that her response would be to just completely sidestep all of it and just opt for a silent removal of the whole thing. Which, I mean, I know it's on brand for Beyoncé to avoid any kind of drama or any kind of beef generally, but this didn't need to be drama and it didn't need to be beef. Like, I think there was actually an opportunity here with Beyoncé being as big as she is to do the right thing by Kelis. Like, maybe that's hoping for a bit too much, but I think just completely ignoring all of it, given the themes and given the topics that Beyoncé is always on about in her music, feminism, self-empowerment, artist influence and power and everything like that. Like, for her to make these ideas and themes so central to her art in such a consistent way, and you see somebody who's so obviously being taken advantage of and has been taken advantage of for a very long time, and that person's being included in your record in a way that continues that cycle, you're not even going to say anything?
All of the stuff she sings about, all this empowerment and stuff, I don't talk about it, I am about it, okay? So the reality is, all of this female empowerment stuff, it only counts if you really do it.
While I know that Beyoncé in one fell swoop cannot completely change and alter the music industry, like from top to bottom because of this one instance, because of this one situation, yeah, that's true. But still, she could have made the effort to right a very long-standing wrong here, or at least say something about it, at least come out in support of Kelis and be like, you know what, sorry about the reach out or the lack thereof, maybe even say, you know what, that's not my thing, felt no pressure on doing that, tried to give you a credit with grace, even though you're not technically credited on the song. But with that being said, I still support you. I still stand by you. This is correct what you're saying. This is completely freaking unfair, and something should be done about it, especially the guy who does have credits on the song. Pharrell, the Neptunes, could most likely change that within a matter of weeks at the most if they wanted to, but they're not going to, one, because of greed, and two, because when situations like this come up, we just ignore it. We sweep it under the rug, we act like it didn't happen, and I just don't think that's right. And while this may be a bit harsh to say, I do think that is reflective of a lack of backbone on Beyoncé's part. Given the things Beyoncé typically stands for in her songs, I would have expected her to do more with her platform. So there you go. Those are my thoughts. Those are my opinions. That's my take. Let me know what yours is down in the comments. I'm sure you will. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Beyoncé, Renaissance, forever.